Good evening, folks. Just a quick video from me in the wintry UK. Thanks for watching the content. Please like, share and subscribe if you want to, and make sure you hit the notification bell to get notified of my latest uploads. Now, today's video, it's a psychology video. I promised you that on my short the other day, YouTube short, and it's going to be about 10 minutes. The title of this video is We've Become Codependent to Narcissists. Now, as you'll probably know, all the stuff going on in the world with the global government is nothing short of a mind bleep, yeah? I'm not going to say the F word, but a mind F word. And really, do we really need this going on in our world? The world is full of narcissistic people anyway, usually from childhood traumas and things that they've gone through, and they hold them within, they can't express them. And obviously it's destroyed them. And to feel better, they literally gaslight you, they blame you, they create situations that never happened, they triangulate people, it's just one big mass mind hysteria, and it damages people significantly. But we're not going to talk about individuals today, we're going to talk about the government side of narcissistic abuse. And that is exactly what we're living through right now in the last days. We have become, as a population, codependent to these narcissistic psychopaths. And they are narcissistic psychopaths because they're literally gaslighting us every single day. An example of it would be a man of a certain faith, shall we say, would commit an atrocious crime, and you walk down the road, you confront the man about the atrocious crime, and you get arrested, right? That is narcissistic gaslighting and abuse. But the problem is, we as a population kind of depend upon these people for financial, for, all those kind of things. Government, we believe in their authority, or what we shouldn't do, because they have none. But the vast majority of people believe in governmental authority. And this is the problem, because they keep abusing us mentally. Now, I recently know, because I went through a breakdown. I call it a breakthrough now, but recently went through a breakdown, and for many reasons. One, because I was in a heavily significant narcissistic relationship for 10 years, and it drove me insane to the point I had to leave. And that was a great blessing for me, because it strengthened me. It made me realise one thing. We have to be true to ourselves all the time. But we only are true to ourselves when we get to the point of no return, when we get to the point where we can't take any more. And this is why global governments really are a blessing. Really. It doesn't feel like that at the time. But in the big picture, the government are pushing us all to a point of mental breakdown. Suicide rates are going through the roof. Males particularly, suicide rates are going through the roof. In Ireland, I think it's 400% increase. But at the end of the day, it's globally, because globally, governments run the globe, or the world, shall we say. The globe, well, we're not going to get into that debate. But the point is, they're pushing us to the point of insanity. But only if we're awake, because the people who are not aware of what's going on, they live in a bubble of blissful ignorance. I don't want to be judgmental, but the truth is, as the saying goes, ignorance truly is bliss. Because if you don't know what's going on, and you don't know there's an agenda at play, and you don't know that all this is not happening by accident, what's going on in the world, none of it. Every single thing that goes on in the world, from like a mainstream media point of view, whatever they put on the TV is the agenda, because that's why it's on the TV, because it's mass mind control. Everyone's got a TV in the house, and the people who are unaware usually spend a lot of time watching it. And they usually spend a lot of time watching the mainstream media, not knowing that the mainstream media are driven by the same people behind the agenda. And it's a wonderful way of controlling people. take the COVID-19 alleged pandemic, which was a complete and utter fraud and nonsense, and the vaccine that was pushed out as a result of that fraudulent, created pandemic. Because it all boils down to the old saying, problem, reaction, solution. They needed people to take the vaccine because it's highly dangerous, untested, not a vaccine by definition, full of mRNA, graphene oxide, nanoparticulates, and the side effects, heart attacks, strokes, pulmonary embolisms. And my interview on this channel, I'll put a little pop-up on here right now, to go and watch that with John O'Looney, the UK funeral director, who's in Burma, cut open the bodies of these poor people who've passed away because of the vaccine. So the agenda was to depopulate. Millions of people were killed. Millions of people have been injured, maimed, as a result of that vaccine. And, COVID-19 was never isolated, proven or verified to exist, because it didn't exist. It was just an imagination, a creation of the mind by these people. Because if you can control what people believe, then you'll control the behaviour. And I always say to people, as a result, what were you doing the day before the pandemic was announced? You were living a normal life, completely normally. And you learned about the pandemic from where? From the television, right? Of course you did. And that's why you rushed out, got scared, followed the arrows, washed your hands with gel and put masks on and all of those ridiculous things that don't stop a virus, because virus particles are too small and they get through the holes in the mask. The masks are also laced. Look, we're not going to go there. It's a different story, but it proves the point, doesn't it? That we were being gaslit. We were being lied to create an outcome, okay? And because we've all, as the population, if we're not aware, then we believe in authority. We believe they have our best interests at heart. But anyone now with half a brain cell on active duty can join the dots. Look at the cost of living crisis, completely orchestrated. Well, what's the plan? The plan is to crash the economy, to make living so unbearable for the UK citizens in my country, the Australians in their country, the Americans. It's global, it's everywhere, because everything is centrally controlled. Everything is centrally controlled by these demons, okay? So we're codependent. We need, in a sense, the very people who are gaslighting us. That is a dangerous combination. And this is why we're seeing mental breakdowns go through the roof, mental health go through the roof. We're seeing suicide go through the roof, as we said before. So how do we break this cycle of being codependent to narcissistic psychopathy? Well, it's really, really quite simple, but it's not easy. The solution is simply to find you again, to rediscover yourself, rediscover your own authenticity, rediscover your own heart, rediscover your beliefs and values, and lose the fear, because they have no power. They only have the power that you give to them. It's really that simple. It's so simple, but it's not easy, as I said before. And these psychopaths, because that's what they are, they have no emotion. They have no emotion. They have no feeling. They have no empathy. They don't care one iota about you, not in the slightest. And they keep inventing ways to harm the people because they don't care about you. It's just simple. So why would you stay and do what people who don't care about you are telling you to do? Why would you listen to a damn word any of them say? Well, the reason that we do, in inverted commas, is because we believe they have authority. But all you got to do is realise that they don't. They only have the power that you give to them. So stand firm in the truth of yourself, in the truth of your heart, and in the truth of your conviction and your own morals. If it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. But the problem we have is that everyone is under the spell. And these people behind this system have people like the enforcers, shall we say, the boys in blue, you know what I mean? Who don't critically think, who believe because they're tied up in ego, usually. Most people, you know, who enforce government policy are only doing it to pay the bills. And, you know, a vast majority of those are waking up now, which is great, but a huge percentage are not, because they're living in their mind. And what does government mean? It means govern means to control, and ment in Latin, I believe, means mind. So they're just controlling your mind. But if your finances and your mortgage and your bills and your children's, you know, livelihoods depend on that money, then people are going to do and follow those orders, aren't they? But if we look at Nuremberg, for example, after the Second World War, the trials at Nuremberg, the people who followed the orders were murdered. They were killed. They were executed. And their defence was on just following orders. So you really think they care about you? Really? So don't be codependent to narcissists. Codependency is a weakness, in a sense. It's a weakness because you're giving yourself away. You're giving your truth, your values away to these external psychopaths, and they don't give it about you. So live in your truth. Lose the fear, because fear is false emotion appearing real. It's not real. And then realise that, okay, maybe I'll lose my job. Okay, lose your job. It's much more important to be honest and grounded in your conviction as a human being for the future of our children. So say no. No. No is the most powerful word on the planet. And that's all we need to do. Remember who you are. Come together and use our values. Love one another. Care about one another. Support one another. And we'll make this world a better place, one step at a time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And make sure you heed these words of advice, because if we don't, there's going to be no future for any of us or our children.